The 2015 season is now upon us, as before the 42 drivers take the green flag here at Dentsville, we got some news and stories to tell you about. The first of which is that Konozuki was involved in a severe accident that happened lap 11 of 30 in his second MEM's duel. We do not know the injuries that he sustained or his status for Atlantic City, but we do hope for the best for Konozuki. And other than that, NOVAR officials are investigating what happened to car number 17 of Mike Hogan after Hogan had a mysterious mechanical issue after he apparently pulled away from everybody, and NOVAR officials forced him to pit after the first lap of the Aflac Thunder Shootout. And for our winners this week of week number 1 is Caroline Salvatore takes the checkered flag in the rookie shootout. Jay Adenori ends up winning the Thunder Shootout in 1 overtime, and CJ Gordon wins the first duel, and Mike Hogan wins the second duel, despite Hogan having issues in the Thunder Shootout. And now for our overall Week 1 winners, Jonathan Kazkandiv wins the inaugural DHL European Tour race at Eurospeedway, winning it in 3 overtimes. In the Gillette Dirt Series, Devin Alexander took the checker flag at Eldora. In the Modifieds race, Mike Warst in car number 99 took the checker flag at South Boston. In the All-American Series, in a crash fest at Myrtle Beach, Earl Grant takes the checker flag in 1 overtime period, which somehow was really surprising, as based on how the drivers were driving in that actual race, it was probably going to take an eternity to get that race finished. In the NOVAR Razor Aero Series return, Ashley Norgan takes the checkered flag in car number 275 in 1 overtime. And now for the Kellogg Series, all of the defending division winners, except for the Northwest Division, had ended up winning a race. Cody Preston won the Northeast race, which was at the New York Bull Ring. Matthew Middleton won the Southeast race, which started the season off at the KC Autosports Complex. Colin Sorensen won the Southwest race at Albuquerque in the car number 141. The only non-division winner to win a race was John Herbertson in car number 41 at Evergreen. And now for the major leagues, the Trucks had their season kickoff at Dentsville, with Allison Kertine winning in overtime. And the Gatorade Series mixed in, finally gets some good luck and wins at Dentsville. And now here's your track info and race notes. The Dentsville Superspeedway, this is the 5th event at the facility, and it's the 4th straight year that Dentsville has opened the season. Last year's winner, Mark Mongillo, won after passing Casey Lester in the closing stages of last year's event, as this race is a 100-lap, 258-mile race. And now your starting grid here for the 2015 Dentsville 250. Your Aflac Pull Award winner is James Wilson Jr. in car number 11, having the new Doritos Toyota Camry after Dollar General left for Silver Green Racing. Notable starters, Chadler Blake starting in the 11th spot. Defending winner Mark Mongillo failed to qualify for this race. The highest starting rookie is Tobias Newbridge starting 25th. Notable starters in the back, your defending champion Shane Nargan starts 36th. And your only other rookie, Darren DeBose, starts 37th. Starting last is Chris Devon in car number 06. So at the start of this race, James Wilson Jr. in car number 11 leads the field down, and we are underway for the 2015 NOVAR Verizon Cup Series season. It looks like the 11 of the James Wilson Jr. has a new sponsor, Doritos. Under the hood, Dollar General left to go with Ethan Littinger. Littinger actually failed to qualify for this race. Shane Howard in car number 03 is already making a move, as Howard in the 03 started, I believe, in the 5th spot. Ryan Pearson in car number 2 is also trying to help that 03 car. And there you see Chandler Blake and Shane Howard in the 59 are also doing them. Now for the race lead very early in this race, Shane Howard in car number 03. It appears that the 03 will get to the lead, but Chandler Blake and Shane Harden are pushing their way through. 2 of the strongest cars and 2 of the drivers that are projected are favoritely going to win the championship, as Blake is going to go to the race lead, and Chandler Blake in car number 15 is going to lead the first lap of the 2015 NOVAR Verizon Cup Series season, as Shane Harden is now looking on the inside. We would have our first caution lap number 2, as CJ Gordon hooks into the back of rookie Tobias Newbridge. That sends another rookie, Darren DeBose. Blake Battagliana, Connor Stanton is also in there, as DeBose and Newbridge are also in there. So Tobias Newbridge and Darren DeBose hoping to get the Rookie of the Year campaign started off right. They don't get that. We have a restart on lap number 6. Corey Blondell in car number 23, leading for Shane Harden in second. Gordon Biller in the number 91 MEM's Toyota Camry. That team was acquired. That team used to be the Bulls Racing team, but now Shane Harden in car number 59 is now going to go for the race lead under the 23 of Corey Bondelga, as Harden already gets away from the pack, as Ike Jr. in the 09 is going to get under his teammate Gordon Billard, as looks like appears that Ike Jr. is trying to get there. Looks like the 66 of Jason Duke is trying to get under the 91, and the 23 of Corey Vondelga. Vondelga is trying to get back to the lead, but Ike J Jr. is going to deny that, as now Jace Jr. in the 09 is now going to go for second. He has help from Jason Duke and Jay Ananori in car number 01. As it looks like Harton led that lap, but Ike J Jr. in car number 09 is now going to try to contest for the race lead. Jason Duke in the 66 to the bottom of the track. Jay Ananori is going to try to make it 4 wide, but Duke gets out in front before that can happen, as now Ananori is going to go and try to take the lead back. But we would have another Ease Racing driver try to contest the lead, and it's actually Mike Hogan in car number 17. Mike Hogan in the offseason went from Tyson Bell Racing to Ease Racing, and it was initially reported he was going to bring his number 7 along to Ease Racing. However, Tyson Bell Racing denied the right to be transferred, so as a result, Hogan will get car number 17. As there you see another of Hogan's new teammate, Chadlow Blake, is about to go take a lead away from Kimmel and Hogan. As Kimmel is already into the lead, Chadlow Blake in the 15 is about to try to take it away. We would have our next caution to fly on lap 13. It appears that Chain Club 3rd gets into Jay Ananori. That sends Keith Hales, Kyra Youthen around. Youthen slides it back up the track, gets into Billard. Looks like Blake Battagliana, Tobias Newbridge, and Carson Brooks also appear to be collected in this one. As now we see several cars driving through. Here's from Gordon Billard's perspective. There's the start of the wreck. Billard tries to go high, and the 57 just pops up the racetrack. Blake Battagliana in car number 50 also had nowhere to go. As on the restart, Walter Youthen in car number 8 will lead on the restart with Walter Green in second, Scott Harper in the 6th, third, and Brian Kittles in the 54, 53 running in the 4th spot. Chadlow Blake already going to try to make a move there. The 8 of Youthen is now leading the charge by Walter Green in the 39, as they're both appearing to pull away from the pack a little bit. As there you see Chadlow Blake. Blake's already up to 3rd in just 2 laps. He's not really having any help, but Alan Kimmel in the 88 is going to help him a little bit, as now Youthen in the 8 is already starting to pull out to a decent-sized gap over Walter Green in the 39, but Walter Green will now be challenged by Chadlow Blake, as Alan Kimmel also follows likewise. The 8 of Youthen is already pulled out to a huge gap, but Blake in the 15 is getting a really good run and having help from Alan Kimmel, and now the 15 already has that nose under that 8 car, as now Blake's going to try to get the lead, but looks like Youthen will still lead that lap, but Kimmel now goes high to help Walter Youthen. Another driver you might see that's also running up in the front is that 37, that's George Davids. Davids actually ran in the Verizon Cup Series from 2000 to about 2010 with the organization, left the NOVAR Racing Series in 2011, came back in 2012 to run in the Southeast Division. Davids actually had some fair amount of success, although he did not win a championship in that division, as he came back and ran, I believe, also in that series, and actually due to tri-racing success in the 2014 campaign, which all 3 of their cars had fair results. Tri-racing opened up a 4th car number 37, and had Long John Silver sponsor that car, as Davids ran car number 33 until Cameron Brooks took over. As you see up ahead, Shane Nargan in 32 has just taken the lead away from Alan Kimmel and Chadlow Blake, and Scott Harper and Walter Youthen nearly make contact and nearly take each other out, as now Nargan in the 32 is leading the way. Your defending champion Shane Nargan, as you see that banner actually looks nice now on that 32 car, on that I think that nameplate on the 32 looks pretty nice with the championship banner there, as Nargan won the championship last year by virtue of that tiebreaker he had with Cody White, and also Chadlow Blake. Blake had his misfortunes at the Columbia race. Nargan finished 4th in that race, and the driver who ended up trying to take it away from him, Walter Youthen, is right now trying to contest for the lead. So how ironic is that the driver who passed to end up winning the championship, you're already battling with him in the early going of this race. So that's kind of ironic. And the lap car of Jamie Scott, car number 9, falls lap down. Scotty will actually become a much later factor in the race, as you see Alan Kimmel right there. We would have our 3rd caution, lap 25. Looks like Scott Harper, George Davids, and Ike J Jr. get together. The 6 goes around. Walter Green is also in there. Shane Howard and Austin Rourke in the 3s there. Carter Pavis is also there. And the 37 is upside down, as the 37 of George Davids just slides down the racetrack. And despite him going over, the 37 would continue, although he would be way off the pace. Here's from Marcus Powell's perspective. Gets hit by the 03 Shane Howard, Carson Brooks, and Jay Ananori. Nowhere to go. So Marcus Powell, hard crash. Carson Brooks would drive it to the garage. He would go out of the race. Marcus Powell would climb out of the car under his own power. Jason Colasso coming flying through there. Eddie Johns would have led on the restart until a bizarre incident. Under caution, he gets just dumped by Carson Porank, as Johns tries to get it back going. He tries to get it back going, and then he gets popped by Jason Duke, and it's going to be a take 2 in trying to get it back going, but James Wilson Jr. pops him in the back. So I guess third time's going to be a charm for the 55. He drives away, and this time nobody pops him in the back, but the 55 would drop out of the race. Mike Hogan in car number 17 will lead on the restart lap number 29. Shane Norgan in 32 in second. Keith Hales in the 27 third. CJ Gordon in fourth. Alan Kimball in fifth. And Chris Devon running in the 06, running in the 6 spot. Very good run, car number 06 of Devon. Devon, who had that one really good run at Dover last year, but hadn't really done anything since then. But meanwhile, Hogan in the 17 is already pulling into a decent-sized gap, as it doesn't appear that NOVAR officials are calling him in yet, because he has a huge lead. But the 27, Keith Hales, will get under Shane Nargan, and that would be for second. James got in the 9, running one lap down, and actually fell off the pace and fell a lap down. And actually, since then, the 9's actually been running with the leader quite well, as there you see the 27, Alec Kimmel in the 88 is now going to try to go for the bottom, as looks like Hogan in the 17 still has that pretty sizable lead. And now the 88 of Alan Kimmel is going to try to get the run. Hales is still holding on the outside, as now CJ Gordon in the 41. They're almost trying to make it 5 wide, but Shane Harden thinks better of it. Here's Chris Devon in car number 06. As I mentioned, had a really good run at Dover, and is now making another good run, running right now in the 6th spot. As there you see, he's... oh boy. Did something just happen to the 06? And there's problems with the 06 of Chris Devon. Devon, who was running in the 7th spot. Something breaks on the 06, as Devon, he emergently gets out of the way, doesn't just run down, just drive down on the apron, just takes himself out. Unfortunately, he would not make it back to the pits, and this would draw our 4th caution of the day on lap number 31, as Devon would have saw it and would fall a couple of laps down. However, he would keep on going on the pace. On the restart, Alan Kimmel in car number 88 leads the field with Scott Harper in car number 6, Tony Wider 3rd, Brian Kittleson in 4th, and Jason Duke is, I believe, off the lead lap, or maybe he's on the lead lap, as right now Alan Kimmel in car number 88 is right now running in 5th. There you see Shane Truex in 73 and Casey Hito in 19. I believe they fell off the draft and lost a lap. I believe Hito's is actually 5 laps down to this point, while Truex is, I believe, just 1. Tony Winder in the 35 is going to try to get around the 6 of Scott Harper, as now the 35 of Wider, as Kimmel already has a pretty sizable lead over the rest of the field, as he's already pulling. Kimmel's didn't really have a great 2014 season, although he didn't really earn any wins, as there you see Brian Kittleson on the 53 trying to use that high side to get by, as meanwhile Chandler Blake in the 15 would take control of this race. He actually would get by, I believe, Kimmel, and Walter Heath in the 8 will get by to get second. The 88 of Alan Kimmel, now there you see Mike Hogan in the 17 running in the 4th spot. So that means he's racing, despite Unannoy falling out of the race because of damage. They are now running 1st, 2nd, and now about to be 3rd, as the 17 of Hogan's going to try to take that spot away from Alan Kimmel in the 88, as there you see Kimmel 17 of Hogan. Hogan's looks like he's successfully gone by, and as a result, Ease Racing is now 1, 2, 3 in the running order. I believe Ease Racing, other than Mars Wrigley Racing, they are the only cars to have 4 cars in the field. Here's Jason Kylasso in car number 04. Very quiet run despite starting in the 3rd spot. Kylasso's kind of fallen back a little bit, but now due to the fact that some of these cars have been dropping out due to damage, the 04 Kylasso has now emerged and is now running with the leaders, as there you see Shane Harden 59 also there as well. Kylasso actually had a very promising debut at Edmonton before being swept up in wrecks, and his luck went downhill, and the finish didn't really show for it. Another driver that's had some bad luck over the past several years is Brian Kittleson, car number 53. Kittleson has basically struggled for most of his career, other than his surprise 2010 championship, as there you see Kittleson is already in the wall, as the 53 of Brian Kittleson struggled pretty much most of his championships, most of his years, except for the 2010 championship, which he won it by a fair margin. However, Kittleson would not have any luck, as he tries to maneuver around black cars by his Newbridge. Newbridge would come down, and he would get turned by the UPS Chevrolet of Brian Wilson, UPS being the new sponsor of Brian Wilson. Kittleson gets turned, and that will bring on our 5th caution lap number 53. Kittleson will keep it on going with no damage done to that 53 car. On the restart, Chandler Blake in car number 15 would lead CJ Gordon in 2nd. The 27 of Keith Hales in 3rd, Alan Kimmel in 4th. The 39 of Walter Green is running in the 5th spot. Keith Hales thinks Kimmel tries to go high, but that doesn't really work. Chandler Blake at the 15 pulls out to a very good lead over this 48 of CJ Gordon, as now the leaders are just trying to get through. Walter Green is using the lap cars of Chris Devin and Casey Hito in the 19 to help draft him up to leaders, as these lap cars are actually running with the leaders fairly well, as most of them, Casey Hito, Chris Devin, they're actually not running off the pace as we're focusing on Chris Devin. We got a crash! The 06 is up in the air. Walter Green's upside down. The 73 at Truex is also upside down. And I think I saw Nargan get turned over as well. The 06 is trying to get it back going, and there you see Truex rolling. As there you see Nargan is upside down. So your defending champion Brian Wilson in the 90 hits him. So a humongous crash on lap 59 brings down our 6th caution of the day, as this turns out to be our biggest crash. Here's what happened from Shane Nargan's perspective. He looks like he merges up into Walter Green's. Chris Devin in the 06 takes a wild ride, and Devin, despite that wild ride, actually would drive it back to the garage, even though that 06 car did drop out of the race. There you see Shane Clark III in the 98. The red flag would come out on lap number 60 because of the debris spread all over down the back straightaway because of this crash. There you see Nargan would stay on the roof, so tough break for last year's champion. Doesn't get the season to start off the way he wants it. There you see a hard crash. There you see, I think that's Walter Youth into the 8s collect. Alan Kimmel's there. Mike Hogan in the 17. Brian Wilson into the 32. So Mike Hogan, one of the strongest cars all of this entire opening weekend, now gets damaged, and the 17 would drop out of the race. Alan Kimmel would get it as well. There you see Walter Green in the 39 is also in there. Here's from Mike Hogan's perspective. Here's the wreck starting. Tries to go low, but he gets clipped by the 88 of Alan Kimmel. There you see the 73 of Shane Truex rolling down the back straightaway, as now just a humongous crash on lap 59 of this race. And here's from Walter Green's perspective. Looks like he got pinched in by Nargan, so your defending champion making a rookie mistake. As there you see, I think the 06 went over on the 39, but I got to give props to that Gressler Racing Organization team for building that car that sturdy. If that was, let's say, 2002, Devin would have probably not made it out alive and probably have critical injuries because of that. But Devin drove that car away, and he would drive it to the garage. Unfortunately, that car would go out of the race. Chandler Blake led on the restart in lap 63 with CJ Gordon after the race. After the red flag was lifted, they had a couple of pace laps, and CJ Gordon in car number 60 and car number 48 right now running in the 2nd spot. Keith Hales in the 27 is in 3rd. It looks like Gordon gets around the lap cars, and now actually has an easy shot to get to the 15 at Chandler Blake for that race lead. As now, as you see, the 48 is still trying to get there. Blake would pretty much lead a vast majority of the rest of the race, but here's Connor Stanton in the 63. Stanton's not had the best of lucks so far this year in that unsponsored Dodge for Real and Racing, the traditional brown number 63. Stanton's only, I believe, made just one race, and that was, I think, the Casey Duels. Stanton struggled mightily all last season, and he's basically struggled ever since joining the Arona Racing team in 2011. So far, Real and Racing's actually made a very good impression so far, and there you see Brian Kittleson in the 53. Kittleson still maintaining that very good run for that 53 car, so Real and Racing still doing an excellent job, as their two cars are not really the most powerful in the field, but these two there are running up front, as Stanton in the 63 is still hanging on. But meanwhile, back up front, Chandler Blake and Jamie Scotty. Scotty is one lap down, trying to fight for his lead back. For his lap back, Blake would get in the way of Tobias Newbridge, and Blake Montaglander would get in the way. The Scotty in the 9 will try to get his lap back. CJ Gordon in the 48 is now going to try to charge his way back to the front. As there you see CJ Gordon in the 48 using 3 lap cars to his advantage. But Chandler Blake trying to power that outside line. There you see Gordon in the 48 goes low. As if you have no help here, the outside is relatively the best way to go. If you do have help, the inside is the best way regardless. There you see Keith Hales in the 27 is also closed in. Casey Hucho in the 19, who is 5 laps down, is also still in there. As there you see Blake in the 15 trying to use that really high line. Keith Hales is going to try to split the middle here, as looks like they will be running 3 wide, as Hales just gets right by Gordon, and now he's going to try to get by Chandler Blake. Looks like the 48 of CJ Gordon is also there. Casey Hucho in car number 19 is going to try to make it 3 wide with Gordon and Blake, as now that has become the battle for second. Blake is trying to get that run on the outside. He gets a really good run on the outside line. As meanwhile, the 19 of Hucho is now trying to get to the bottom, as Hales and Blake are still battling it out for the lead. Brian Kittleson has jumped into the mix of this one. Ike James Jr. in the 09 is also going to try to get in here. But also more cars are coming. That's Kyle Lasso in the 04 and the 35 of Tony Wider. As Kittleson is working with the 27 of Hales, CJ Gordon's using the lap car of Hucho as a pick, and Ike James Jr. is working with Chandler Blake. Gordon's going to try to make it 4 wide, as Huto is a lap car, as he's going to try to push the 27-15 out of the way. Kyle Lasso in the 04 is trying to help the 48 of Gordon, as now they'll be heading to about 13 laps to go, as the 19 of Huto is still trying to hang on to the bottom. Ike Chase Jr. trying to get under the 15. Tony Wider in the 15 is also there as well, as looks like Kyle Lasso in the 04 is now trying to challenge CJ Gordon for the race lead. So we have some great racing in the late stages of this race, as now the 48 of Gordon looks like Brian Kittleton's trying to open the door under between the 48 and the 04, as now it looks like the 48, there you see, I believe, Scotty has, meanwhile, Jamie Scotty, who was, I believe, last car on the lead lap because of this, they're now pulling away. George Davis and Jason Duke are going to get in the way. That means that's going to put Jason Collins, no, that's going to not put Colasso, because he gets in the way of Jason Duke in car number 66, and the 35 at Tony Wider will now take the lead. Austin Warwick, who was, I believe, a lap down, also follows with him. So as this race settles down, we would actually have green flag pit stops with about 10 laps remaining. The first of which was Keith Hales in car number 27. Hales with 10 laps remaining, as there you see enters pit road. Nobody else would follow him. The rest of the leaders, Chandler Blake, Brian Kittleson, would also follow suit. This was 1 lap later. And then another lap later, Jason Colasso in car number 04 would pit alone. And this would prove out to be the beneficiary, as Colasso pitted a lap later than Chandler Blake. And this would lead to a 2-car battle between Chandler Blake in the 15, the man who's basically dominated the majority of this race, and Jason Colasso in car number 04. Colasso, who has never won a Verizon Cup Series race, so Colasso is trying to look for an upset here in the Dentsville 250. But Chandler Blake in the 15, he's now being contested by Casey Huto in the 19. This might be a big advantage for Colasso. Colasso is going to take advantage of that, and he's going to go for the race lead. Jason Colasso in the 04 is now heading to the race lead here, as looks like Colasso is trying to get there, coming to 3 laps to go, as Colasso is still trying to get that bottom line going. Blake is trying to use that outside, as Blake's been in his battle similar to this that happened at Talladega last year when he was battling Casey Littinger late in that event. Colasso takes the lead away, but Blake is still trying to charge up on the outside. There you see Jay Arnoy, the lap car there, as now Colasso has now successfully gotten the lead away, as now here comes the lap car of the 37 of George Davis. Davis gets in the way of Colasso! So it looks like Davis kind of interferes and ruins potentially a great battle for the win. And as a result, Chandler Blake at the 15 would get away with the lead. As now, looks like Casey Huto has already gotten around the 01. Chandler Blake is now trying to maneuver that car, and that might bring the 04 of Colasso to the front. As now, the 15 of Chandler Blake is still trying to get there. Colasso is still trying to get there as well. Colasso just gets around the 04 of Jay Arnoy, as now the 15, as now looks like Colasso, does he have enough to try to close down that 15? Does Jason Colasso have enough for the 15 of Blake, or will Blake walk away to a victory here at Dentsville? They are now approaching the white flag. We got more lap traffic up ahead. That's Jason Duke. Looks like the 15 has no problem. Colasso doesn't appear to have a problem. We got more lap traffic. That's Darren DeBose and Ryan Pearson. The final lap is out. Will it be Blake, the 4-time Verizon Cup Series champion, or will Colasso pull the upset? Blake in the 15 is still hanging on. He's using the draft in the 19, and it appears that the 15 is pulling away. Colasso does not appear to have the run going, as we see there now approach the lap traffic of Pearson and also the 99 of Darren DeBose. Looks like the 15 of Pearson. DeBose gets out of the way. Pearson tries to block Colasso. I don't know what he was thinking there, as now that might have just helped. Blake is going to try to get to the inside of Huto. Chandler Blake, who was denied of a championship last year, he won't be denied a Dentsville 250 victory. Chandler Blake wins the 2015 Dentsville 250. Heartbreak for Jason Colasso, who finishes second. So Chandler Blake cruises to his first season opener victory since 2005 in dominating fashion, leading 54 of 100 laps here at Dentsville. And just to note, 54 laps is the most laps led by a Dentsville winner, and it's the most laps led in a season opening victory since I believe Markel Linsweider won the 2006 Daytona race, where he led, I believe, 49 of 80 laps in that race. Jason Colasso in car number 04 finishes second in that heartbreaking fashion. Lap traffic did play a role, NOVAR officials are going to investigate what happened specifically with George Davids and Ryan Pearson. So we might get penalties or we might not. Keith Hales in car number 27 once again gets a good start to the season, finishing 3rd. Brian Kittleson in car number 53, great finish, and finally a great start for Brian Kittleson in car number 53, who has basically struggled right out of the gate, and that's basically why Kittleson's basically been struggling all of this time. Tony Wider rounds out the top 5, finishing 5th. CJ Gordon in car number 48 was in contention, fell out of the pack a little bit, and I believe pit strategy kind of knocked him out of contention. He finished 6th. Ike Jace Jr., car number 09, finishes 7th in the Twix Toyota Camry. Shane Harden in car number 59, despite getting that damage in that last caution, finishes 8th. Luke Warren, one of the favorites, actually gets beat by Harden, who Harden was the number 3 pick for the win. And then Cameron Brooks in car number 33 rounds out the top 10. For the most part, because this is the first race of the season, the top 10 points remain basically the same as the top 10 results, as I believe the results on this race basically stand on where each driver is in the points. So we didn't really expect any changes. Blake is in the points lead. He has 44 points due to the fact that he got the additional bonus point for leading the most laps. That's why he has a 2-point gap over Kalasso rather than the 1-point gap that's traditionally there. Keith Hales 2 points back. He's actually tied with Kalasso. Kalasso with the higher finish is now 2nd in points. Brian Kittleson 4th in the points. CJ Gordon in car number 6 in the 48 is in 6th. Ike Jace Jr., Shane Harden, they're tied up for 7th. He's getting the spot because he finished higher. Luke Warren in the 14 is 10 points back. And then Cameron Brooks in car number 33 rounds out the top 10. And now we'll take a look at 11 through 20. Scott Harper in car number 6 actually gets 2015 off to a good start after a completely disappointing 2014 season, being 11 points back. Shane Clark III in car number 98 is 12th in points. He is 13 points back. 13th is Walter Houston. He is also 13 points back, but Clark gets the tiebreaker due to the higher finish. Shane Howard in car number 03, 14 points back in 14th. And how about Connor Stanton in car number 63, 15th spot, 16 points back after Stanton struggled pretty much heavily all year. At Reelin Racing, that got 2 cars in the top 15. So shout out to them as they get a very good start to the season for both car number 53 of Kittleson and the 63 of Stanton. Darren DeBose, the highest rookie, I believe, in the field. Newbridge, I think, was involved in Rex and I don't think he finished. Jay Ananori in car number 01 is 17th in points, 17 points back. He's actually tied with DeBose with the 16th spot, but DeBose got the higher finish. Jamie Scott in car number 9, 18th in points, 19 points back. Carson Parank in the 52, 20 points back. And rounding out the top 20 is Blake Battagliana in car number 50. And now to close out our broadcast, we have the race recap. There were 6 cautions for 24 laps. Our hard charger was Keith Hales, who finished 3rd after starting 39th. Your lap leader is, of course, Chandler Blake, leading 54 of 100 laps. There were 16 different leaders they swapped the lead for 27 lead changes, and the margin of victory was 0.5 of a second, so about a half a second gap that Chandler Blake had. For week number 2 of the NOVAR Racing Series, the Verizon Cup Series will be the only drivers tackling the racetrack, that it being the 2nd race of the season at the Atlantic City Speedrome in Atlantic City, New Jersey for the Target Dash 250. All others are on a bye week until some of them will return for week number 3, which is at Chicagoland and Loudon. So that will wrap it up here for the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series on GRN. Congratulations to Chandler Blake on winning here at Dentsville and being the 2015 Dentsville 250 champion.